Hello and welcome to my tutorial series Unreal Engine for VFX Artists. In this series, I will be covering topics and essential elements of Unreal Engine for those who are planning to use Unreal Engine for their CGI or VFX projects, as well as show them different benefits of using Unreal Engine compared to traditional softwares. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. So once you have launched your Unreal Engine, either from Epic Games or straight from the desktop, this is the first scene that you will see. That is the Unreal Engine project browser. On the left side, you will see several different categories that are like games, films, architecture, and as well as automotive. And these are just templates that are already created for you to give you a head start in some of your projects. For example, within games, there are already several templates already created for you. For example, if you're working on a first person or third person game, it is already providing you with a template so you can get ahead of the project that you're planning to create. Similarly, we have different templates for films, as well as architecture, as well as automotive. So if you already have a plan or an idea of what your project is going to look like, you can always choose one of these templates. But for this series, I will be starting with the game's blank project. On the right side, you will see there's something called project defaults, and you have two options, whether you want a blueprint project or a C++ project. A C++ project is usually for those who are programmers and are planning to do scripting within Visual Studio for the Unreal Engine project. As we are focusing on a VFX or CGI project, we actually don't need C++. We will stick to the default blueprint system. Keep the target platform as desktop and choose the quality preset to be maximum. We also have an option called scalable. Scalable is usually used for projects such as for virtual reality headsets, augmented reality, as well as for mobile phones. But we will keep this at maximum. You can include the starter content if you want, but I will keep the rest at default. Lastly, choose your project location and give your project a name. For this, I will name it VFX Series Part 1. Once that's done, click on Create. So once the Unreal Engine is launched, this is what you will be seeing. And before I dive deep into explaining you how you can create several elements, I will go over by giving a quick walkthrough of the Unreal Engine windows as well as show you how to navigate within Unreal Engine. So of course the scene you see over here is your main viewport where you will be performing most of your actions like placing your actors, placing your 3D models, editing them, as well as seeing how your final product or VFX shot will look like. On the bottom is the content browser, and you will be importing all your files, textures, any kind of 3D models over here within the content folder. You can always aim to organize your projects by right-clicking over here and clicking on New Folder. Let's say I call it Assets. And you can go into it and now import your files here. How can you import your objects? You can either click on File and go click on Import into Level and use your browser to find the FBX or OBJ model, or you can always just open the folder and drag and drop them here. On the right side, it is your outliner. Outliner is basically a list of every single object that is already present in the scene. See if you can sometime, if you're lost or can't find any of your objects, you can always take the help of here. And just like the content browser, you can also organize your objects and items by creating folders and naming them respectively. For example, you can already see the lighting that is already present in the scene is well organized in the folder. And similarly, you can just simply right click, click on create folder. Let's say I call it mountains, and you can place all your items in there. In order to place the items, you can either simply drag and drop them to the folder, or when you're creating the folder, simply just select all the items, then click on this icon on the top right. And this will create a folder and automatically place every single items within it. Now we are done with outliner, we come down to the details panel. Detail panel is basically the properties of the items that are already within the scene. For example, if I select the directional light, you're now able to see all the different properties of the directional light. For example, its location, its rotation, as well as scaling, as well as different kinds of mobility. I will cover what are the mobility later in our series. But if we scroll down further, we are able to see different properties, for example, the intensity, which we can increase and decrease, and we can see the changes happening in real time. We can choose to remove cast shadows, or we can even choose to remove the FX world and it will stop affecting it. So there are several different properties that you would need to play with while working on your project according to your needs. So now that's covered, let's dive into how can you navigate within your scene. So in order to do so, make sure your viewport is selected. After that, you can press your right button down. While it is pressed, you can move around your mouse and you will be able to rotate within the scene. You can use your mouse scroller in order to zoom in and zoom out, but you can see it will take a bit of time for you to reach a particular location. Similarly, you can use your WASD to move around. So right click in your scene, and if you press W, you can see I'm moving in front. If I press D, I'm moving right. If I press A, I move left. And lastly, if I press S, I move back. You can do the similar things using your arrow keys as well, according to the direction they are at. Now you may say, yes, we are moving very slow in this scene. So on the top right, you can click on the camera speed. You can increase or decrease it. So if I increase it and now move within the scene, I'm very quick. But there are times where you would want to move the camera very slightly or make sure you're able to see the items you want to. So if I bring the mouse speed at 1, you can see I am barely moving. But yeah, I am moving, but I'm barely moving. I'll bring this back to default for now at 4. And pretty much that's how you navigate within the scene. Now, within Unreal Engine, it gives you different viewport options as well. For example, on the top left, you can see if we are currently in perspective. You can always click on that and choose some of the orthographic views, such as top, bottom, left, right, front, and back. Unreal Engine also offers you several different kinds of view modes, such as the default one is lit. So lit is basically the scene that you will see, which will be rendered out at the end. Unlit removes all the lightings, but you are still able to see what are the different objects within your scene. Sometimes unlit can be useful, as if your system is not that strong, unlit will remove the high quality details from the viewport and allow you to navigate very smoothly without any lags or GPU issues. We also have wireframe, as artists often needs wireframe to see how their objects are laid out. Moving on, we have detailed lighting, and we have several different lighting modes. For example, if you click on lighting only, it will remove all the textures and materials that you have applied on any object, and it will just show you how it looks with the lighting. And there are many more that we will cover as we move across the series. And lastly, if you click on show, you can often remove the items that you don't want in the scene. For example, if you have volumetric fog in your scene, you can uncheck that and it will get rid of that. But it only gets rid of what's visible. The fog is still present in the outline and you have not lost any of your work from there. So while the basic is covered, how you can navigate, what are the different windows, and how you can use different viewports and view modes, we will now move on to how you can place different actors, we will now move on to how you can place different actors, objects, create cameras, and even importing some 3D objects in the scene in the next video. Thank you for watching.